refusing to heal is causing this divine masculine and this divine feminine to both miss out on this divine union. So this dream was extremely disheartening, right? Because in this particular dream, I could see everybody's individual perspective from their point of view. And I could also see the situation at large and how easily everything could have been fixed with a simple conversation, right? But because of unhealed trauma and because so many people just tend to bury their emotions deep instead of doing the work, right? Instead of speaking up. This is like one of those things where both parties had something that they wanted to say, but neither of them said it because they didn't want to offend the other party, right? Or neither of them said it just because of unhealed trauma that they were still holding on to, which ended up causing the whole union to fall apart when it was a union that was destined to be, right? So anyways, in this particular dream, right, there is a divine masculine, and he was he just literally just got out of a relationship, right? He was in a relationship with someone that he thought he was gonna spend the rest of his life with, not out of love, but out of commitment, right? So this divine masculine was in a relationship with let's just say like a Queen of Pentacles, right? But I'm gonna say like a Queen of Pentacles in reverse, right? Only because I say Queen of Pentacles because it was a family situation, but I'm not saying that she was a bad person per se. I didn't really get a look at all that went into what happened with the specific situation with this person. Only that divine masculine was left with a lot of scars from this relationship, right? So divine masculine is getting out of this relationship. He's just out of a relationship with this Queen of Pentacles in reverse, where there was a family situation where he thought that he was going to spend the rest of his life with this person because they had a family together, only for him to find out that the child was not his. Now, I don't know if this is a situation where this Queen of Pentacles knew that this child wasn't his, and that's why I say a Queen of Pentacles in reverse, or if this was a situation where there was a potential of two fathers, and maybe this individual was being open and honest about it, and just a paternity test needed to be done. But the reason it gives me a Queen of Pentacles in reverse energy is because of the scars that were left. Because I feel like if this woman would have came forth and been like, hey, I was with you, but before me and you got together, I was with this person, so I found out I'm pregnant. There's a possibility it could be yours or it could be this person because the times were so close, right? If this person had been open and honest about the situation, then I feel like this divine masculine wouldn't have been left so scarred by it, right? Because, we hear a lot about paternity fraud, right? And we hear a lot about child support and about people not stepping up, not taking care of their responsibilities, this and that. But I don't think we talk enough about how paternity fraud really hurts these divine masculines, especially when it's the type of divine masculine who really wants children, who really values family. Like, this is the type of divine masculine that although this is not the woman that he would have chosen to be his divine counterpart, in any other circumstance, he was willing to be there because family is so important to him, right? So to then find out that the child in question, is not his, it really scarred this divine masculine. So just because of how scarred he was in this dream, it makes me feel like this is one of those situations where there was paternity fraud, right? Now, I don't know what happened or what transpired to make the paternity test come about, but long story short, in this dream, this divine masculine is freshly out of a relationship, basically due to paternity fraud, right? So he ends up getting back with the woman that he really wants to be with, his true divine counterpart, right? The woman that he loves and wanted to be with and almost missed out on because of this paternity fraud, right? So they're in a relationship, they're happy, they're in love, everything is great. And then divine feminine gets pregnant, and it almost happens too quickly. Like, this whole dream took place literally within a matter of weeks, time span had transpired, right? So divine feminine gets pregnant right away, right? And so immediately in his mind, divine masculine has doubts. He has doubts. He's like, okay, this is the Queen of Pentacles situation all over again. How do I know? I don't feel like, and immediately he's like, I don't feel like this baby is mine. Now, fortunately, in this situation, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Fortunately, in this situation, the child is his. This child is his. This is the divine feminine. This is the divine feminine in this dream who she has no doubts. She has no doubts whatsoever. So divine feminine's backstory, she's been single for a long time. This is a divine feminine who has been practicing abstinence, right? She has been practicing abstinence. So this is a divine feminine who's like, look, there is no other possibility because I have been abstinent for however period of time. So there's no possible way that this baby could be anyone but yours because I know what I have, or rather I have not been doing, right? So she knows, there's no doubt in her mind. But because of the situation that divine masculine has just come out of, he has doubts. Now, divine feminine can feel his doubts. She can intuitively, energetically, emotionally, she can feel his doubts. And she can feel that he's there, but he's not all there. Almost like physically he's there. He's there for her. He's doing things, he's stepping up, but emotionally, it's like it almost makes me want to cry, right? Like in the dream, it almost like first of all, divine feminine in the dream was crying. And I think seeing her upset is making me upset, right? Because like in the dream, he's there, excuse me, y'all, because like I can feel like the emotions hitting, right? In the dream, he is there physically, but emotionally he has checked out, right? He is checked out. And Divine Feminine can sense this. She can sense this. And I don't have a whole lot of backstory with Divine Feminine, so I don't know like what all she's been through. This is like a this is like one of those stories where this is like a more mature couple, right? This is like for my audience of people who are in like I forget what the age range is on this thing. I think it's like 25 to 34 and 35 to like 44 or something. This is like my 35 to 44 age range, right? Where you're still in the age range where you can have children, but some people are at that point where they're like, you know what? I don't even want children anymore, right? Like at this, because I have friends who are my age, right? Who some of them are like, I still want children while I'm still in that window. And others are like, look, at this point, like, it is what it is. Like, I just want to live, travel, and enjoy my life. And whatever side of the spectrum you're on, it's okay. You know, you have to do what's best for you, whatever that may be, right? So this is like a Divine Feminine who is more mature, because I don't see her child, but this is a Divine Feminine who already has an adult child. Like, I don't know the ages of these people, but they're definitely like more mature. They're older, right? Because this is a Divine Feminine who has an older child who is already like out of the house, right? And this Divine Feminine, like, her heart is breaking because she's like, look, she's already been through, this is like her train of thought. She's like, in her mind, she's thinking, I've already been through all of the drama of trying to co-parent, of raising a child, of being a single mom, of being in a situation as a parent with a man who has emotionally checked out. And she's like, I've already been through that. I already know, how that goes. I already know long-term how that presents. Like, I'm sitting here and this is what she's thinking. She's like, I already know how that presents, right? And I'm not doing it again. She's like, she's not doing it again, right? Divine Feminine is like, look, I'm standing strong in the fact that like, I am not going through this again. And I don't blame her, because if you've been a child in a single parent household where like your father, or it could be the mother, I'm not like putting it all on men, because like a lot of these situations go both ways. We have a lot of people that complain about not getting child support, or people complain about the other parent not being there, but what they won't do is they won't open up their mouth and admit that the other parent is not there because they make things so difficult. I've seen it from every aspect, so I'm not here to like bash or do any of that, right? But so regardless of if you grew up in a single parent household, whether your father was a single parent or your mother was a single parent, like, you know what it's like, if this is your scenario. If you're one of those people who your parents divorced, or they separated, or they were never married, but both parties were there and both parties were active, like, congratulations, right? But if you've ever been in a situation where you were raised by a single parent and the other parent, regardless of which parent it was emotionally checked out, you can tell and you can feel, like, as the child, you can feel, like, you can tell when someone is just there because they feel like they're being forced there out of obligation versus someone who really wants to be there, right? You can tell, you can pick up on that, right? So this is a Divine Feminine who's like, look, she's already been through the whole scenario of raising a child with a partner or a co-parent that was emotionally checked out, and she does not want to do it again. She does not want to do it again. Now, I'm not here to get into the politics of what's right and what's wrong. Everyone has their own beliefs of how they feel about whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. I don't care. I do not care, right? I'm not here for that. Your beliefs are your beliefs, and whatever is right for you is right for you. Whatever is right for someone else is right for someone else. Your beliefs, just because they're yours, don't make them the universal right thing to do. And it does not mean that someone who believes other than you is wrong. That's not how this works, right? Everyone has their own beliefs, right? So, with that being said, this is a Divine Feminine who is a pro-choice, right? A pro-choice. And with the state of politics of where we live now, a lot of states have kind of like done away with the option of pro-choice anyways, right? But this is a Divine Feminine who is pro-choice and who just decides that, like, look, the child is not here yet, and he already has so many doubts. And she's just like, I can't do it. She's like, I can't do it. She's like, if he's showing this many doubts, and if he's showing this lack of emotional bond this early, then in her mind, she's like, I already know where this is going. I've been there, done that, and I will not do it again. She's like, she will not do it again. So this Divine Feminine makes the choice to end, she's a pro-choicer. She makes that decision, right? Enough said, right? And the dream, like, I don't know, well, I guess, no, there is, I don't know, because, like, once she, and it ruins the relationship, because once she makes a decision that she makes, right, then of course all that does is strengthen Divine Masculines. Like, he's already feeling like this baby is not his, although he's not verbalizing it, he already feels that. So when she does what she does, all that does is strengthen his belief that he was right and that the child was never his to begin with. So of course, like, the whole relationship just kind of dissolves. The relationship dissolves. They don't stop being friends. It's an amicable, they're still amicable, but the relationship, of course, it ends, right? And it's so disheartening because that was his child, right? It was his child. Now, I don't know why. Because, like, to me, when I woke up, I'm like, why not just do a paternity test, right? Like, I don't know, like, anyone out there, if you happen to come across this video, maybe you have more information than I do. I don't know too much about, like, the prenatal paternity test. I don't know, like, how far along you have to be. I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like you have to be so far along, and maybe Divine Feminine made her choice because she was like, I don't want to, let's say, for example, like, and this is just me speaking because I don't know what the actual rules are. Let's just say, for example, to get a prenatal, you have to be at least 24 weeks. Well, in some states that do still allow the pro-choice, I know that, like, once you get that far, then you no longer have the pro-choice anymore, right? So you have to get it done, I think, within, like, the first trimester, which I think is, like, the first, like, 12 weeks. So I think you have up until, like, the first trimester. Once you enter the second trimester, then, you know, the pro-choice is no longer an option. I don't know how that differs from state to state. I know, like, medically, you can have the pro-choice option later if there are, like, medical issues, but I think, like, statistically average, you have until, like, the first trimester, right? So let's say, for example, maybe for a prenatal test, you may have to be further along to get the prenatal DNA test. So maybe Divine Feminine was like, I'm not willing to take that chance. Let me just go ahead and end things now while I still have this as an option. I don't know, right? Because I don't know how the prenatal works. I also don't know how invasive the prenatal DNA test is. I don't know how, like, if it's dangerous to mom or if it's dangerous to baby. So maybe that's why it wasn't an option for Divine Feminine. I don't know if Divine Feminine even researched to figure out if that should be an option that they should take. I don't know. And I know some people are like, well, the prenatal test, that's not, how do you know it's accurate? Well, because the man in question that you're questioning paternity, you know he's not your father. So even if they did, well, okay, I get that. It's like, oh, how do you know it's not mom's DNA and they're testing dad against mom and we know dad is not mom's father? Well, because you're also testing baby's DNA against mom. So if you look at DNA of mom and DNA of baby, and if it's the exact same, then you know that you didn't extract baby DNA, because mom and baby DNA would not be identical, because you take some genes from, and this is just like the scientist in me coming out, right? The biologist in me that's coming out, right? You would know that if you accidentally grabbed mom's DNA and not baby's, because then mom's DNA would be identical to mom's DNA. And when you do a DNA test, you are matching mom and dad to baby, right? So it's impossible for them to miscalculate in that sense, right? But I don't know why getting a prenatal DNA test was not an option here, because getting a prenatal DNA test, or if that's too dangerous and people have, like, done the research and they're like, no, if just waiting, just having the conversation, like, all Divine Feminine had to do was have the conversation with Divine Masculine, and they could have decided whether they wanted to do a prenatal DNA test or wait until baby gets here and then do a full DNA test. But having the conversation with Divine Masculine and letting him know that, hey, it's okay that you have doubts. I know what you've been through and I know how bad that hurt you. So I can understand how just getting freshly out of a situation where there was paternity fraud, getting into a new relationship, even though this is a divine union, and all of a sudden now Divine Feminine is pregnant, I can understand how, because you have not healed the wounds from the previous relationship, how you would still be hurt and doubtful. Like, I can understand. So all Divine Feminine needed to do was to just have that conversation with Divine Masculine. And then from Divine Feminine's perspective, I can understand how, from her perspective, she's like, look, I understand that he's hurt. I don't know why he just won't talk to me. And if instead of him talking to me, his go-to is that I'm just going to emotionally detach, then I don't want to be in a long-standing relationship commitment. I don't want to be in a long-standing partnership with someone who their go-to response is just to emotionally detach. I don't want that either. I've already been through that in the past, and I know where that's going to land, and I don't want to be in that either. So I can understand both individuals' perspectives, right? Divine Masculine not wanting to raise the issue. Why? Because Divine Feminine is pregnant. She's supposed to be happy. She's supposed to be joyful. Everything is supposed to be light and airy and exciting. You know, no, he doesn't want her pregnancy to be filled with trauma and chaos. He doesn't want her to be sad and upset. He wants her to be happy during this pregnancy. So he's not bringing it up because he knows that it's going to hurt her, right? And on the reverse end, she does not mind having the conversation because she knows that he has doubts, and she's, in her mind, she's thinking that he's not having the conversation because he's just automatically putting her in the same shoes as you know, Queen of Pentacles in reverse. She's thinking that he's automatically just like, okay, well, since she did it, that I'm doing it, so now this is how, like, I'm going to treat this. And so, like, in her mind, she's like, okay, he's emotionally checked out, I'm not doing this. And, like, literally everything could have been resolved from a simple conversation, but because no one wanted to be the one to speak up, right? Instead, he's just there physically, like, and it's kind of like, I said, like, one part of the dream where like Divine Feminine finally makes her decision is because, there's like one part where she's like, he tells her, like, I'll get the trash, but for whatever reason, I don't know if it's like a hyper independent Divine Feminine, right? She's like taking out the trash, even though, like, he told her that, like, he would get it, right? So she takes it out. And it starts raining, right? And so like he gets in the car to like drive over to where the dumpsters are to pick her up. Now ordinarily, and I'm knowing this because like I'm reading Divine Feminine's mind, and this was like literally the thing that where she was like, okay, I'm going to make my pro-life choice, right? This was like the exact moment. And it was something, because sometimes I tell y'all, like, it's like the smallest things that really mean the most to people. Like the little things that we do or the little things that we don't do that like scream so loud to people, right? So he drives over to the dumpsters to pick her up because it's raining. He doesn't want her to have to walk all the way back in the rain, right? They live in apartments in this dream, right? So he gets there and she's looking and she throws the trash away, and then she turns around and the first thing that she notices is that he's still in the car. Now she's in her mind thinking, and she's having flashbacks of times where it's been raining before, and whether it's raining or it's not, this divine masculine always opens the door for her, right? Like even if it's raining, he will get out the car, he will get soaking wet just to open the door for her so that she can get in the car. And this was like before she was even pregnant, right? And so she's thinking about that, and she's seeing that he's driven the car over, the car is closed, but she's noticing that like now he's not getting out the car. And it's like, like especially women, are already emotional. So imagine being a divine feminine, already having all of this that's going on. He has a lot on his mind that he's not speaking. She can sense that. She has a lot on her mind that she's not speaking. He can sense that. He's thinking that what's on her mind is that she knows that this baby is potentially not his. She's knowing that what's on his mind is that he's doubting the paternity. Nobody's saying anything. So there's like all this unresolved tension, right? So she's already in this heightened emotional state, and then she's pregnant. So of course her hormones are all over the place. So she's looking and she's like, I'm pregnant. It's raining. And he didn't get out the car to open my door. And that small gesture of him not getting out the car to open the car door for her, which he normally always does, was like the nail in the coffin for her. That was like the nail of the coffin for her, to see that emotionally he had checked out, and that everything that he was doing, like he was there physically out of obligation, but like emotionally he had checked out. And like literally in the dream, that was the deciding factor for her, that she was like, you know what? I'm just gonna make my pro-life decision, my pro-choice, excuse me. Have I been saying pro-life instead of pro? If I've been saying pro-life this whole time, I meant to say pro-choice. So hopefully like y'all understand, because if I've been saying pro-life and I've been saying it backwards, and it doesn't make sense, right? So that's when she decided to make her pro-choice decision. I feel like I've been saying it backwards, because I feel like I've been saying life a lot. So yeah, I think I've been saying it backwards. Anyways, that was literally the deciding factor of when Divine Feminine decided to make her pro-choice decision, right? And so she does what she does, and the relationship dissolves. And like the biggest thing about it is like, because they never had the conversation, because of all of that, because of her choice, now he feels like he was accurate in thinking that the child wasn't his anyways. And now she's like hurt, and she's like, she didn't want to go through another situation of ending up having to co-parent with someone who was emotionally checked out. So like now, instead of them coming together, talking about it and healing, they both walk away even more scarred than before, right? So divine masculine, divine feminine, right? I'm not pinpointing any specific person, but this is why you have to, like, for anyone out there who's like, why is it taking so long for me to meet my person? Or for anyone out there who who your person is, and you're like, why is it taking so long for our union? Like, I know I'm meant to be with him, or he's like, I know I'm meant to be with her. Why is it taking so long for our divine union, reunion? Why is it taking so long? It's because you're both unhealed. And if you don't do the work, like if you're a divine feminine and you're doing the healing, but your divine masculine is not, it's not going to work. If you're a divine masculine and you're doing the healing and your divine feminine is not, it's not going to work. You both have to do your healing before your union or your reunion can come together. Because if you don't, you're going to destroy it. Then it's going to all have been for nothing. And then you're going to walk away having more that you're now going to have to heal from, which means any other union in the future is then going to be postponed. So trying to rush things now, are trying to rush this reunion or this union, for those of you who maybe your divine person is someone that you've never met before. In order for that union to come into play, you have to heal. So I don't care if you need to take 6 months, a year, 18 months, 2 years. I don't know why I'm doing this in 6 month increments, but like, you have to take the time to yourself. Stop focusing so much on your union and your reunion. Take the time to focus on yourself. Focus on healing yourself. And the best way to do that is to set yourself some goals and focus on accomplishing your goals. Focus on getting you to where you want to be. And once you have gotten you where you want to be, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, where once you've gotten yourself spiritually, once you've gotten yourself to where you want to be, that's when your divine union comes into play. Because if at that point your divine counterpart still has not healed, then you will meet someone who is spiritually on your level, right? You will meet your divine equal. If your divine counterpart in the meantime has healed, then that's when your reunion takes place. Your reunion does not take place until you guys are both spiritually where you need to be, right? And if you try to rush it and bring it together sooner than that, then the relationship is not going to last. It's going to fizzle out, and it's either going to get permanently destroyed, or it's going to, now that this happened, you're going to have more of it you're going to have to heal from. So now you've just added more time until the actual divine reunion can take place. So by trying to rush it, you're actually prolonging it, right? So divine feminine, divine masculine, please focus on your healing so that you can step into this divine union. Okay, y'all, that's it. That is the message for today. As always, if you've made it this far, thank you for listening. Bye.